What I see nowadays, one of the worst things right now is a hell of a lot of gaslighting. Gaslighting from women, especially the women that with this fake Christianity thing. Most of it is just gaslighting to get what they want, to get a relationship. That's why you see so many covert feminists, like the Jenny Mai type women. And young Jay-Z found out the hard way. They're going to the churches now. And reason because Christianity is so forgiving that, most retired 304s love Christianity because this are like Jesus has cleansed me of my sins. And you identify these retired 304s, they're lecturing men about morality, and the Bible forbids this. Was it 1 Timothy 12 about women preaching to men and lecturing to men? The first thing they do is they start lecturing grown-ass men about morality and all this other stuff. That's the first sign of a retired or debaucherous, disagreeable, disrespectful, tumultuous type woman who cannot operate under the leadership of men. And what we fundamentally don't address, the elephant in the room, is most of these women were not raised to be wives. They were not raised to be under the leadership of men. They were not raised in that, and they'll go back and say, oh, well, these guys are not worthy of respect. Once they start talking about men not worthy of respect and start pushing that feminist propaganda and that, because again, they don't do the self-healing work. They don't do the work. They don't do the development work. They don't work on their mental health. They become better victims. So they don't take accountability for anything because we live in a gynocracy. It's a gynocentric environment that we live in. So what they become is better victims. They create the whole story in their mind. It's like seeing a divorced woman and you ask her about what actions and behavior that you do in that marriage that created a situation where, your husband left, or you left your husband, or or whatever fault it was that you, what were the things in that, what are the mistakes that you made in that relationship, in that marriage? And you'll hear her, she'll get quiet and silent, and then she'll go back. She may say one or two things, but then she'll go back and blaming everything on that man. That's why you see a lot of these guys don't even say nothing. You see mostly they don't even say nothing. Because they know the default is that it's always the man's fault in a gynocracy. When the relationship fails or when things go bad, you are the one that's going to take all of the blame, all of the responsibility. They're not going to take any account. I don't even waste my time. I'd be like, look, okay, whatever. All right, it's my fault, whatever. That don't mean I'm going to be doing anything extra or whatever else. I just don't, it's not even worth the argument. Because the culture we live in is about men being, holding men accountable for everything, having one gender that has no accountability for nothing. So it's always going to be a man's fault, whatever happens in that relationship, whatever happens in that situation. But now we see with the situation with the economy, in terms of inflation, in terms of with AI coming about, the elimination of these government programs, and, all of these different social things, DEI and all these things disappearing. You're getting more women. I see even less of them in my comment section making comments or challenge or coming and fighting with guys anymore, because many of them are nervous and scared. That doesn't mean that their nature, their pure feminist nature, it's in them. It's in them. They are feminists. That's what they are. They were raised to be feminists. They were raised to be strong and independent. They were raised to compete with men. And what they're talking about now, as far as this provider man stuff, it's all about getting men that they would not be attracted to if they were younger, in a better position to pay their bills, to sponsor them. They have no intentions of being under the leadership of a man, because that's not the way they were raised. And they will keep moving the goalposts within that relationship. So these dudes think that when I tell a guy to level up, it's for your own financial benefit, for your own freedom, not for no woman. Because if you paid 100% of the bills, what she will do is move the goalposts again. Oh, just because you pay 100% of the bills, that don't mean I should be listening to you. I'm not a slave. She's gonna move the goalposts, keep moving the goalposts. You see, it's just a sucker trick to get the state involved, get your resources, get her power in the relationship, which is the state and the ability to extract resources from you if you don't behave or if you whatever. So every year she's going to be wearing your ass down because she has, big daddy government in the relationship, because she was never raised to be a wife. She was never interested in being a wife. She was interested in the provision, protection, and security of that relationship. And many of we see them all over here, old women, older women, they have the same ideology and the same mentality, which is basically to get a hold of security. That's their nature. But they don't have no desire to be under a man's leadership. They've been feminists their whole life. And if they've gotten to the point where they haven't been able to secure a man or keep a man, what makes it think that's going to be any different for you? I mean, they've ran through a whole bunch of relationships. They've had past, they've had resumes and whatever else. But in their mind, they see themselves as the 22-year-old version of themselves. They see themselves as a victim. And they will never, ever self-improve. They will never, ever do anything different. Their mindset and their mentality is set. And that's just the way they are. But now what's going to happen is a tremendous amount of gaslighting for guys that are unaware, that don't know any better, that are thirsty, that are desperate, that are living in this hope environment. I'm not talking about the 5% women. The 5% women are keepers. I know people, about 5% of the women are probably wife quality right now, based upon the environment, because you don't want to be married to no covert feminist type, Jenny Mai type woman that's going to do the bait and switch on your ass and be trying to destroy you once she gets security and gets in a situation where you're supposed to be this so-called provider man or dynamics, and you end up like, who the hell are you? Waking up one day and be like, who are you? Who the hell are you? Because she done switched up on your ass because it was never real. So now they're hiding in the church. And the last stage is that religious. Once they start pontificating that religion, this is the last stage. They're trying to sucker a simp into a marriage, sucker him into a relationship, use religion to cuff sequels. When somebody uses religion, you can't really counter that, because then they're going to try and label you as a bad person or a horrible person or whatever else, using religion against you. So that's why they go to the church. That's why they use it. It's not because they want to have any genuine, because if you ask them, you flush them out. So, you get them. The Bible says that the man is the head of his wife. He's the head of his wife. Not just the head of the household, the head of his wife. And watch how she responds to that. I'm not saying you should just say that out loud to her or say it straight to her, but in a conversation. And you'll tell right away she's a feminist, because him being the head of the household, that don't mean anything if the woman does whatever she wants. If he's the head of his wife, then he gets to tell her what to do. A feminist will absolutely bark and resist it. Or she'll try and do a qualifier. Well, he has to be this. He has to be that. He has to be this. He has to be that. He has to be this. He has to be that. That's when you know that woman, because a woman that's truly a feminine woman will understand that, first of all, the men in her family are supposed to help vet the man that she's supposed to be married to. Not only that, she's not going to debate that, because she was raised to believe that. She's not going to try and hit you with a whole bunch of qualifiers like you fill out a job application, because you wouldn't be in that position if you weren't qualified in the first place. If you're dealing with functional culture and functional people and proper vetting in life, you wouldn't be in that position in the first place. So what we have now is, I call, scammer broads, or the relationship hustlers, looking for a sucker. And that guy's going to end up, if he's not disciplined enough to do the proper vetting, to put some requirements out here and on these women, and not just accept this ridiculous nonsense of religious gaslighting that they're bringing to the table now, and trying to sucker some guy, some weak-minded dude, into some type of long-term commitment with the government. You'll experience a bait and switch on your ass like you've never seen before. But that's the new hustle now. With AI, with shit being expensive, with inflation, with the way society's going, is a lot of covert feminists. That's what they're flooding the dating market. They're flooding the churches. They're everywhere. These women do not do self-development. They become better victims, and they looking for some sucker to do the duty of marrying them, and then they will turn around and torture his ass. Especially a guy who don't look like nothing like the guy she's dated her when she was younger or in her 20s. That's who she likes. These women don't change their taste in men. They change their taste in lifestyles. And you're going to be the sucker that's sponsoring that lifestyle. And she's still going to be talking to them same dudes on her Facebook and her Instagram and everything else. You're just going to be the one who bankrolls her future, that transfer of wealth. Because they like who they like. And my mentality is let these wild horses run free. Peace and blessings to you guys. Enjoy your Saturday morning. Get out here, do some exercise. Nobody takes care of you like you. Make sure you guys hit the like button. I'm out. I'm about to get these miles done.